There are a number of events across the course of music history that are seen as true turning points of culture, and there's no question that one of the most important and highly revered is that of when Bob Dylan went electric. By the time 1965 rolled around, Bob Dylan was arguably the most important songwriter in America, following the success of his Freewheelin' Bob Dylan record and Times They Are A-Changin'. It was also during that year that he was famously labeled the spokesperson of his generation, and it was perhaps being given that label that led to what was a rather bold move, and it would come in the form of the album he released in March of that year. While his now iconic Bringing It All Back Home record may seem like nothing more than a modern classic in modern times, when it was first released, it sent an absolute shockwave through the entire world of music. The first side of the album featured the unfathomable, as Dylan was backed by an entirely electric band, and many in the folk community saw this as nothing short of blasphemous. But there's no question that the album's first single, Like a Rolling Stone, was a hit at the time and it remains one of his signature songs. However, the biggest controversy would occur on July 25th, 1965, when Dylan took the stage at the Newport Folk Festival. Having performed to enthusiastic crowds in the two preceding years, legend says that Dylan decided at the last minute to take an electric outfit with him on stage. And many claim that it was in response to the rather disparaging remarks given to the Paul Butterfield Blues Band, who had done the same the day before. Remember that fact. Before Bob Dylan took the stage with an electric set, another band had already done it at the Newport Festival. Strangely enough, on the evening in question, Bob Dylan was also sandwiched between two very traditional folk acts, and when he came out with his electric band, he appropriately started with the song Maggie's Farm. Almost as soon as he started playing, there were loud boos, but there were also a lot of cheers from the audience, and this would persist through the entire time he was on stage. Only a few songs later, following a rendition of Phantom Engineer, Dylan walked off stage, and the mixed reactions continued while Peter Yarrow famously tried to coax him back on. Dylan did return to the stage, and after being thrown a harmonica that was in the right key from the crowd, he performed a few songs acoustically, and the crowd exploded in delight. But that would be the last time he stood on the Newport Folk Festival stage for nearly 40 years. Now, it's important to understand that there are many very different interpretations of exactly why the negative reaction from the crowd occurred, and you can easily make the case that it wasn't solely due to his non-traditional musical approach. In fact, many people who were in the audience that day, along with a lot of the people on the side of the stage, say that a large part of the negative reaction was due to the horrible sound mixing that occurred during his set. A lot of these people say you could barely understand what Bob Dylan was singing, and when you're talking about someone with lyrics of that caliber, that can make a huge difference. A lot of people were also disappointed that year because Bob Dylan was given a very short set length, almost a third of the time most other performers had that evening. Regardless of the reasoning for this reaction, the footage was caught on tape and has been used countless times over the years in different documentaries. And even if this reaction was not directed at his rather daring approach that day, Bob Dylan's Bringing It All Back Home record, coupled with his electrified performance at the Newport Music Festival, forever changed the face of all forms of music, and the impact still reverberates to this day.